Welcome, gentle viewer. I am Miles, and this is A Second Look, the D&D fantasy channel where we explore world building, character development, and role-playing, not by simply reviewing the rules and creating homebrew content, but by taking a deep dive into familiar subjects from a different point of view. Today, we'll be taking a second look at one of my absolute favorite monsters, the Frost Giant. Now you're quite possibly asking yourself, how are Frost Giants your favorite monster? Sure, they're relatively tough, but there are far tougher monsters. Heck, they're even tougher giants. They don't possess spectacular magical powers or incredible supernatural abilities that set them apart from the rest. What they do have is one of the richest histories and most fascinating cultures in all of D&D. When portrayed well, they're an absolute joy for a dungeon master to run and a terrifying challenge for players to face. So, let's take a second look at the Frost Giant. The Frost Giant is one of the true giants, although they still rank relatively low within the ordning, standing only one step over the Stone Giants. Frost Giants average around 20 feet tall. They're generally fair-skinned, although many possess a faint blue tinge to their flesh. Their hair ranges from stark white to blonde, black, or, on rare occasions, even a brilliant orange. Some wear it long, others cropped short, buzzed, or even shaved completely bald. Braids, however, are especially common. They're tall and lanky, yet powerfully muscular, with athletic builds capable of running for hours on end. Frost Giants are completely immune to the effects of their frigid homeland. Neither natural nor magical cold will harm them. In fact, they relish freezing temperatures. Their hair, clothing, and beards are often caked with frost and ice. The Frost Jotun, as they call themselves, adorn their bodies with ceremonial scars and tattoos. Scars earned in hard-fought battles against formidable foes are especially prized, serving as visible proof of courage, strength, and martial prowess. Frost Jotun clothe themselves in animal hides, wearing shirts, trousers, tunics, heavy coats, and thick fur cloaks. However, it's mostly form over function. They have no desire to keep themselves warm. A Frost Jotun is just as comfortable wearing a heavy fur cloak and a thick coat as they are barefoot in nothing more than a loincloth. Outside of war, they rarely wear armor. When they do, it's most often crafted from layers of fur reinforced with the bones of whales or dragons, or some such creature. They favor elaborate helmets and headgear, often adorned with horns, antlers, skulls, or even sweeping wings. Frost Jotun prize trophies, visible proof of the formidable foes that they have defeated. They display horns, teeth, hides, claws, weapons, and other relics taken from worthy enemies with unmistakable pride. When their raids turn toward the smaller folk, however, their trophies take on a darker cast. Scalps, heads, hands, ears, skins, all sorts of horrific, dark trophies. The Arctic cold preserves these grisly prizes, freezing them solid before decay can take hold. The Frost Giants are well aware of the terror that such displays inspire, and they cultivate it deliberately. A helmet hung with frozen hands, or a belt woven from the beards of slain dwarves, serves as a grim testament to their brutality, and it is crafted to instill dread and shatter the resolve of those they descend upon. Among their own kind, though, such trophies carry little weight. True respect is reserved for the spoils taken from worthy adversaries. The horns of great beasts, the fangs of monstrous predators, the hides of legendary creatures, and the weapons claimed from their powerful foes in distant lands. These are the trophies that earn honor among the Jotun. The Jotun craft fearsome weapons from wood, stone, leather, bone, and teeth. Unlike many other giant races, the Frost Jotun are first and foremost a warrior society. They value skill at arms above all else. While they gather hardy plants and berries and possess considerable talent in woodworking, scrimshaw, these skills are simply necessities of life. Combat is truly what earns a Jotun respect. The Jotun are reavers, slayers, and warriors. Despite their fearsome appearance, the Frost Jotun are not mindless berserkers charging blindly into battle. Most battles against smaller races require little strategy. A village militia or company of soldiers simply cannot stand against creatures 20 feet tall. Terror is often their greatest weapon here. Villages break long before the Jotun do. Ships surrender rather than fight. Against such foes, overwhelming strength is usually enough. True strategy is reserved for worthy opponents. Dragons, other giants, powerful monsters, and great armies. When facing enemies capable of challenging them, frost giants become calculating opponents. They understand terrain, ambushes, naval warfare, supply lines, and the value of striking where an enemy is weakest. They are experienced hunters, raiders, and explorers, and those skills translate naturally to the battlefield. In personal combat, a frost Jotun is a master of arms. Spears, axes, swords, clubs, and knives. It matters little. If a weapon can be wielded effectively, the Jotun know how to use it. They are also accomplished wrestlers and grapplers, capable of overpowering even enormous foes when the situation demands it. When many Jotun fight together, their experience becomes truly dangerous. They coordinate their attacks, exploit weaknesses, and overwhelm opponents with practiced tactics. Against an organized force of frost giants, brute strength is only the beginning. Their greatest weapon is centuries of accumulated experience in war. They raid neighboring civilizations and take what they desire. Gold itself means little to them beyond the understanding that the smaller races prize it. Instead, they seek food, fine furs, gemstone, jewelry, and valuable trade goods. They also prize slaves. Slaves free the frost giants from the mundane labors of daily life, allowing them to devote themselves to hunting, raiding, trading, and war. Most families own several slaves, usually humans or orcs. Elves are considered too troublesome to keep, and quite frankly, too delicious. Dwarves are almost never enslaved successfully. They refuse to submit. They constantly encourage rebellion among the other slaves, and are notorious for fighting to the death rather than accepting captivity, often taking their captors with them. Gnomes and halflings are simply too small to be useful, and regarded as little more than vermin around the household. Humans and orcs, however, are hardy enough to survive the harsh climate and generally submissive enough to control. Occasionally, a family may keep an ogre as a slave. An ogre can perform the work of 10 humans in the fields. Unfortunately, they do not coexist well with other slaves and have an unfortunate tendency to kill them over time. Alongside their thriving slave trade, the frost Jotun also keep a remarkable array of animal companions. Some belong to individual warriors or families, while others are considered the property of the clan itself. Polar bears, dire wolves, winter wolves, cave bears, yeti, mammoth, owlbears, giant owls. The list is extensive. A frost giant is rarely encountered without at least one such companion, and often several. Even a group of giant children wandering beyond the village would be accompanied by a pack of dire wolves or winter wolves to guard them, hunt alongside them, and usually ensure that they return home safely. Do not mistake this for affection, however. To the frost giants, these creatures are tools, weapons and labor, even food waiting to happen. If one dies, another can eventually be captured or bred. Outside of their own people, frost giants place little value on life itself. Frost giant settlements are surprisingly large, often consisting of clans numbering around 100 to 150 people. Each clan is ruled by a war chief, divided into several extended families, each occupying its own massive longhouse. As young men come of age, they either build a longhouse of their own or leave to seek their fortunes elsewhere. There is always another nearby clan in need of a strong hunter and capable warrior. Several neighboring clans usually belong to a greater tribal confederation, perhaps the Elk Clan or the Glen River Clan, all ultimately owing allegiance to a single king. Both titles, chief and king, are available to any warrior willing to challenge and win in a fair fight, which means no attacking from behind or when the chief is exhausted and wounded from a recent battle. While it is not a hard rule, nearly every challenge is to the death. A chief may spare a son foolish enough to publicly challenge him, but he will first give that boy a severe beating and a scar to remember him by. The eldest son is always first in line to inherit the throne upon his father's death, if he's strong enough to keep it. Truly, the mightiest Frost Jotun rule the clan. There is no council of elders or questioning the chief's authority. Once a chief or king has made his decision, it is final, unless someone feels strongly enough to challenge him for the crown. Despite often being depicted atop a frozen mountain, many certainly do dwell there, the Frost Jotun are a deeply nautical people. They often build enormous longships and raid coastal settlements, preying upon the vessels crossing the open seas. Imagine standing aboard a merchant ship only to see a half-dozen colossal longships packed with screaming giant reavers bearing down upon you. The Frost Jotun travel immense distances, exposing them to many different lands and cultures. Their settlements are commonly found along rugged coastlines, where the diet consists of not only of elk, mammoth, and buffalo, but also seals, walruses, and of course, whales. Whale hunting is second only to warfare in frost giant culture. Giant hunters will leap directly into the freezing sea, battling whales in the water with spears and knives before swimming the carcass back to shore and dragging it onto the beach. A single large whale can feed an entire village for weeks. Yet the meat is only the beginning. The bones become tools and weapons, the blubber provides oil, teeth become ornaments and spearheads. Ambergris is treasured, and even the hide finds a use. Nothing is wasted. Thus, some of the most respected positions outside of warrior are master shipbuilders, navigators, priests, and shamans. A navigator is far more than simply a sailor. He is the captain of a longship, responsible for leading his warriors across dangerous seas, finding distant shores, and returning his clan home safely. It is common for several clans to raid together under the guidance of experienced navigators. They steer by the stars and the constellations, outmaneuver rival captains, and possess a knowledge of the wider world that few Jotun can rival. Nearly all are seasoned warriors who have earned the respect not only of their own clan, but of the many other clans in the area as well. The other highly respected role within the Frost Jotun is that of priest or shaman. Anam, the Allfather of the true giants, is revered above all others. For countless generations, his priests have guided Frost Giant society. Even the mightiest chief thinks carefully before disregarding their counsel. They preach the old ways, bow before Anam, and know your place, honor, and tradition, and prove through strength that Jotun remain worthy of his favor. However, everything changed when Anam shattered the ordning and frustration over Giantkind's repeated failures against Tiamat. The rigid hierarchy that has governed giant society for ages was suddenly gone. With the ordning broken, new ideas began to emerge. One movement in particular has gained considerable influence among the Frost Jotun, the Sons of Ymir. They celebrate the end of the ordning and dream of restoring Giantkind to its ancient glory. They believe the Jotun embody everything a true giant should be: warriors, conquerors, and reavers. They look back to the mythical age when giants waged war against the gods themselves and slew many of them. To the Sons of Ymir, that is the greatness that Giantkind must reclaim, even if it means one day challenging the gods again. Ironically, the Sons of Ymir have also opened a path previously closed to many frost giant women. Unlike the traditional priesthood, they readily accepted women as shamans and spiritual leaders. As a result, an increased number of women have risen to positions of authority and earned the respect of their clans. With the breaking of the ordning, the Frost Jotun have begun trading in earnest with the fire giants. The Jotun offer exotic goods that few others can obtain: magnificent furs and hides, the ambergris and bones and teeth of terrifying beasts, and above all, slaves. In return, the fire giants have begun flooding the Jotun with expertly crafted steel weapons, armor, and tools. The results have been profound. What was once a fearsome warrior culture limited by Stone Age technology is rapidly becoming the greatest military threat to the civilized realms. Armed with masterfully forged steel and tempered by generations of warfare, the frost Jotun have never been more dangerous. And that, gentle viewer, is a second look at frost giants. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you'd like to see more videos like this, consider subscribing to the channel. And finally, I'd love to hear from you. What is your favorite thing about the frost giants? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching A Second Look.